for you. Go ahead.
All right, guys. Hope you're getting everything that you need as far as from our coordinators and ourselves and our players. Really appreciate your patience and dealing with a different situation, but I hope that we're getting you as much detail as humanly possible about what's going on with our team. Can't believe it's you blink your eyes and it's already practice 6 today. We just finished the acclimatization period and actually got our first full pad practice yesterday, which we jumped right into some live scrimmage situations so we can get some much needed tackling. And it's first opportunity to be able to get that and was, to be honest with you, really pleased. We had put a lot of investment not only into our tackling drills and our fundamentals, but also ball security situations offensively. And it really was a clean scrimmage atmosphere with not a lot of missed tackles and no balls on the ground. So you always get what you invest in. And it was awesome to see that both live and on tape last night and this morning to be able to see you practice it and you get what you invest in. 2 big days for us as we prepare for Saturday. Saturday will be another scrimmage atmosphere. We will go to the Coliseum. We are going to go to the Coliseum in the morning to feel what that feels like. We're going to do that the next 3 Saturdays in preparation for an early kickoff against Arizona State. I came away yesterday saying there's still a lot of work to do. We're very thankful to have 3 weeks prior to the season, 3 more weeks prior to the season coming to fruition, but really proud of the kids' effort. And I'm really proud to see our fundamental drill work carrying over to live team situations. Probably the most work we've got to do is the continuation and the implementation of some new systems, both defensively and special teams wise, to get rid of that a little bit of confusion that creates hesitation, and hesitation in this game will get you beat or get you hurt. So, but the reps this week and what the kids have accomplished, I think have been very good. I'm very pleased right now. With that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Okay, a reminder, just raise your hand and I'll call on you. We'll start with Ryan Karchi.
Morning, Clay.
Good morning.
I know we talked to Todd about, what changes when you go to full contact practices. And he said, this is where the separation begins. Was there anything or any group or any players who really separated themselves once the pads did come on by your impression yesterday?
Yeah, in the team periods, what I was really impressed with was the open field tackling by the secondary and the linebacking core. In college football with our hash marks, there's so much grass to cover out in space, and that's been a huge part of college football, as we've seen probably over the last 3 or 4 years with the RPOs and the ability to not only push the field vertically but horizontally. And I was extremely pleased with the scrimmage as far as the DB's physicality and the ability to get the ball on the ground. The linebackers, the thing that I saw that carried over from T.O.'s drill work to the scrimmage was just the ability to separate from blocks and make open space tackles. Anytime you got a 300-pound man coming at you and he locks up on you, you're pretty much done. They were able to create separation through contact, get off blocks, not being magnets, but then getting off blocks and making those open field tackles. So it was a good first day. Now we got more to do, but that's what stood out to me, Ryan, was just the open field tackling in space. Usually you get the early part of camp and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, we got to get some people down. But we've really spent 3 weeks, both in OTAs and this week, of truly teaching tackling fundamentals, whether it's gator tackles, whether it's proper upper body tackles, getting our head out of place, getting our body in the correct place. And it's really paid off. So that's my message to the staff this morning, right after you're in this staff meeting we're getting ready to have.
Drake London had such a great debut last year. Anything in particular that you've seen out of him that may have, hinted at some progression, or anything you'd like him in particular to work on that might help with an even bigger breakout this year?
Yeah, I see just the confidence level, Ryan. I think we saw that in the second half of the season. I always love to be able to see when a freshman walks in, when the light clicks on, and everybody's different. Robert Woods, it was game one. The light was just clicked on. For Nelson Aguilar, I'll never forget, it was the Oregon game. All of a sudden, it's game 5 or 6, and just you could see his eyes, and you could see everything slow down. And then he goes for about 150 yards worth of catching balls. For Drake, it was the second half of the season last year. And really, I think really stood out to me was the Colorado game, where he basically made 2 huge third down plays for us that was able to help us in the fourth quarter. And you've watched him grow. Everything slowed down for Drake. You can see his eyes. You always tell with a freshman, they either got deer in the headlights eyes or everything just kind of slows down and they look calm and confident. His confidence is there. And he went from a high school basketball body to now a 6'4" plus 215 to 220 pound receiver that is really a huge target for a quarterback. So I like where his confidence level is, and I like where his playmaking ability is, and I like what he's done physically to handle the college football game.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Adam Grossbard.
Hey, Clay. Last week you talked about guys like Brew McCoy and Drake Jackson dealing with some minor injuries. Has there been any progress getting some of those players back into practice situations?
Yeah, Brew is actually back. He was in scrimmage situations yesterday, which was very good for him. And Drake is still. We're being a little bit slower with him. Obviously, he after having a season under his belt and having a little bit of maturity, we're just being really careful with him. Hope to see him in the near future, but right now we want to be overprotective of his hamstring. Brew is just further along, and now he's been cut loose and really has had some good days back to back. To be honest with you, so looking forward to continuing to see his progression.
And have you got through these first 5 days without any additions to the injury report?
Yeah, we've had no major injuries. We've had some bumps and bruises, but nothing that is detrimental to anybody as far as that I see in missing a first game.
Okay, let's go to Antonio.
Hey, Clay. Where does kind of EA stand? It's his third year, in the program. It's a new defense. I know you guys are going to count on him a lot this year. What have you seen so far from, the first couple of days?
I have been so impressed with the relationship between him and T.O. and his ability to take T.O.'s coaching. EA has always been an explosive athlete, a raw talent, and Todd has been really, really hard on him, to be honest with you. He has done some hard coaching, and I've always believed you coach your best players the hardest, and that's what he's doing with EA. And in doing so, EA is becoming a better fundamental football player, in my opinion, just watching early tape here, rather than just that raw talent and just relying on ability. He's becoming a more technician of the game. And it's still early, but I even told EA yesterday how proud I am of him, because he's taking hard coaching. He's accepting hard coaching, and that's what great players do. The ability to take advice and transfer it over to team situations. And, this is a really good relationship, probably as good a thing that could have happened to EA in his career, to be honest with you.
Okay, let's go to Shotgun.
Hey, Clay, how much of a boost is it to get a guy with as much experience as Andrew Voorhees has, and that, throw him in the mix when you're trying to fill in a couple spots on the offensive line?
Yeah, I tell you what, Shotgun, it was like getting a great Christmas present. You forget how big a man and how strong a man that is, and how much knowledge the guy has. And when you throw him in there and just that experience and the amount of reps he's had, plus his leadership. The way he's just one of those blue collar guys that just sets an example for the rest of the offensive line and our offensive players. So it's great to have him back. Much needed, much missed. And now you're looking at a line that really is an older bunch right now in those ones. There's a big drop off of youth from ones to twos. So hopefully we can stay healthy. But the experience of that one group, and Andrew's one of those guys that just bring a wealth of knowledge, toughness, and experience. So it's great having him back, Shotgun.
Okay, Mark Culkin.
All right. Good morning, Clay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Talk about the tight end group over these last few days and the impression they're making on the offense and how it's affecting the defense.
Yeah, we've had the ability, with Jude now maturing, coming off a redshirt year. Obviously, EK is a vet. Josh has been around a bunch also, but I see them being more prevalent in the pass game, and how Graham is using them. As a matter of fact, Jude had a big touchdown catch yesterday for an explosive play. So it's neat to see those guys. Obviously, EK's been a steady force for us for a while, but it was really neat to see Jude get involved and gain some confidence, and really made 2 or 3 nice plays in the scrimmage yesterday, and one for a big score. So I know in these early days, I've seen Graham use that tight end position a bunch as far as his personnel groupings, and it's been nice to see the playmaking ability of those kids in the passing game.
Okay, let's go back to Ryan Karchi.
Hey, Clay. You mentioned Andrew Voorhees and how the experience has helped, especially at guard spots with the ones. How close is that guard battle right now? And how much does experience kind of have specific guys ahead of, maybe younger ones at this point?
That one group that we're working right now, you're looking at Andrew Voorhees and Liam Jimmons that have both been guards and tackles. You've got Jalen McKenzie and Elijah Vera Tucker that both have been guards and tackles, and then a Brett Nealon who's been a solid force. So you see that experience across the board, and they're all juniors and seniors. So all these kids that played young are now old, and you could see when they step out there, they're grown men. I mean, there's not 100, 300 pounds. They're athletic. Most of them are 310, 315. So they're a bigger group, a knowledgeable group. It's what you want to develop an offensive line into being. But the ones that are right behind that I think are really going to, as we go through this miniature season that is going to be unprecedented as far as what could happen to you. We're seeing across the country, you could have a positive test where a young man has stepped down and the next guy's got to be ready, or an injury where the next guy's got to step up. And the guys that have stood out to me has two. One is Justin Dietich, who actually came in last year and helped us when Brett was down, and he's playing both center and guard right now. And Liam Douglas, I think going into his 3rd season, has really stepped forward as a guy that we can count on. There's some young talent that is stepping up. I think a Jonah Monheim, a Cortland Ford has really shined for us. Jason Rodriguez is gaining some maturity. So we have this great blend of upper level experience and talent, and then right behind it some really young kids that will be needed this year to contribute, but also I think have very bright futures for us down the road.
Also, Clay, there's a petition going around about Pac-12 parents and families potentially being able to attend Pac-12 games. Obviously right now LA County and in the state of California, that's not currently allowed, but is that something you would be in support of if the state and county health officials would approve it?
Hey, I think our state and Helton County have done the right things in trying to make the safest environment possible. And as we've seen, things have changed. It seems to be changing each and every month, and so, we're fortunate to be in a situation right now and very grateful right now where we're going to get the opportunity to play as staff and players. And I know right now that is a city and state decision. It's not a Pac-12 decision. It's not a USC decision. And the city and the state have done what's best for the community. So hopefully it will change. I know all parents. I'm a parent. I've got a son that's in high school. I would love to see him play as long as it's safe, and the environment's safe. So I know the city and state will do the best decision for our community. And as we have been as Trojans, we'll always support their decisions and respect their decisions. And our prayers are that things do continue to get better, that we see infections continue to decline to the point where we are even more grateful to have parents involved in the stand. So yeah, that's my prayer. And that's my prayer, and I hope that we continue to see a decline in infection rates. And when the city and the state feel like it is time, and we are in a safe place, I know they'll make the right decision for the community.
Okay, let's go to Eric McKinney.
I think like going to Liam Jimmons a little bit. Can you talk a little about going back, I guess, to that position switch and how he took it and kind of his story? That doesn't seem like maybe a success story when a position switch happens kind of later in a career.
Yeah, he's a very unique story. And if you remember, he was a tight end defensive end in high school and was about 240 pounds and came to summer camp, and we just absolutely wore him out one day, and he earned a scholarship that day. Just the way he was able to compete, really able to take coaching. We didn't quite know what he was going to be because of just his body frame. You knew he was going to be a kid that, okay, he's 240 right now, but 3 years from now, he's going to be a 300-pound kid. His heart was in defense when he first came here. And we always allow kids to play the position that they want to play at first. And then we judge what is best for the team. I remember Marquise Lee, who we thought was going to be a first-round draft pick corner, came to us and said, "Coach, I want to be wide out. Just give me 4 days." And it didn't take 4 days. It took 4 plays. And you knew exactly what he was. In Liam's case, he provided us a great role on defensive line. But as he grew and we saw his athleticism that could transfer over to offense and the need for a player like himself on offense, we thought that he could flourish there and actually be a pro prospect there. Where he was a contributor on defense, we thought his value and worth would be even more on offense. And credit to him, he accepted that. And he accepted we defined his role. He accepted his role, and now he's starring in that role. And now he's got an opportunity to be a major contributor and earn a starting spot. So I'm proud of him. Every story is different. Sometimes it happens early for guys. Sometimes it does. It's like Nico Fala. I remember him being late in his career and really flourishing late and developing late. And now he's been in the NFL. I see Liam as that same case, and proud for him. He's put a lot of work into it to get to this spot.
Okay, back to Mark Culkin.
I want to circle back. You were talking about how Coach Orlando has been really hard on EA and how EA has been really receptive to it. From what I hear, it's a personality, it's a culture change that's been going on the defensive side of the ball. Can you bring that into context with how Graham Harrell did that on offense, and how maybe some of Todd Orlando's personality is migrating onto that side of the ball as well? How he's, kind of, galvanized a new culture, so to speak?
Well, I tell you what T.O. does. I mean, he brings an attitude. And not only is he a great fundamental coach, but he brings an attitude with him. And it is a attitude of toughness, and it's what our mantra is this year: toughness, discipline, and being united. And that's on and off the field as we deal with 2020. And what's been nice is when we walked into this camp, our number one priority was for our players to get to know all our coaches, because we had missed spring and we had missed being around each other in summer workouts. So with the OTAs and with training camp, we've actually put our coaches in front of our team via Zoom to be able to talk philosophy and talk about our culture. And Tio is one of those leaders. We've actually flopped fundamental technique work, moving our offensive players to actually doing defensive tackle drills with our defensive coaches, so they get a feel for our defensive coaches. Plus, it'll help in special teams, bringing our defensive players over and working with our offensive coaches as far as ball security and being able to learn how to catch the ball properly to help with interception, being able to hold on to the ball. I remember Isaiah Polamalu at Cal, last year, and where he made a great pick and then all of a sudden lost it. So what it's allowed us to do, it's allowed our players to get a feel for our total football family as a coaching staff, and for the defense players to get to know Graham Harrell and the offensive staff, our offensive players to get to know T.O. and the defensive staff, and get to know us all and what our culture is. And so T.O.'s been a huge part of that, Mark, and just be honest with you. He's really brought a great energy and a great attitude of toughness to our entire team.
Thanks for that answer. Appreciate it.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. Last call. Okay, well, Clay, thanks very much for joining us this morning. We'll see you again. Our next Zoom is on Monday morning, 7:30 with Clay. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us, and we'll sign out.
Stay safe, guys. Thought on.